Dining doesn't get much more bland than plain rice, but it doesn't have to be that way. By adding a few of these simple fluids, you can raise your rice game to a new level. Using chicken broth instead of plain water is an easy swap for cooking white rice. The chicken broth adds a lot of savory flavor to the rice, and it is also more nutritious. In fact, the Singaporean national dish, Hainanese chicken rice, uses rice cooked with chicken broth served with steamed chicken and a ginger and chili garlic sauce. Dietitian Lauren Maneker cooks her rice with broth because it, quote, gives the final product added fat, flavor, and protein. As the rice soaks up the chicken broth, all the nutrients will also be absorbed. The broth is a simple 1-to-1 swap, so you can use the same liquid-to-rice ratio for chicken broth as you would with regular water. The swap works the same way with other types of broth, such as beef broth and vegetable broth. Alternatively, if you want a milder flavor in the final result, you can use part water and part broth to cook the rice as well. Coconut rice is commonly found in countries where both rice and coconuts are abundant, like Southeast Asia and the Caribbean. Because coconut water's consistency is similar to plain water, cooking rice with coconut water works pretty much the same way as cooking regular rice. Online recipes suggest using the same ratio of coconut water to rice as plain water. If you want a milder flavor, you can also try different proportions of water and coconut water. The coconut water gives the rice a sweet coconut flavor and aroma that would make the rice a great side dish for Thai curry or to elevate a chicken and rice dish. Plus, coconut water contains potassium, calcium, and magnesium, so it's a good way to add these nutrients to your rice while keeping it low-calorie. While coconut water imparts the flavor and sweetness of coconut milk does that and more.
Fish, vegetables, prawns, coconut milk, and 4 kinds of rice. I came close to madness trying to find it here in the States.
The fat in the coconut milk also lends a richness to the texture of the rice. As canned coconut milk has a long shelf life, this is a great hack to keep in the back pocket. When cooking rice with coconut milk, recipes usually suggest combining coconut milk and water, as coconut milk alone would be too thick. Try replacing half of the water with coconut milk to get a sense for what it does to the dish's flavor. If you haven't been able to get your rice quite as fluffy as you'd like, consider adding a splash of vinegar. Cooked rice can stick together and become gummy because of the excess starch, but acidic ingredients like vinegar can prevent this from happening. The acid can help stop starches from thickening and result in fluffier rice. Additionally, vinegar has many health benefits and helps to kill harmful bacteria. Vinegar also acts as a seasoning and adds a nice flavor to the rice. In fact, rice vinegar is one of the main ingredients for making sushi rice. Although in sushi rice the vinegar is typically added as a seasoning after the rice is cooked, you can shake in a splash of vinegar before cooking instead to break down the excess starch from the rice. Only a small amount is needed, and most recipes suggest adding 1 teaspoon of vinegar for each cup of rice. The Italians have been cooking their rice with white wine for a long time, and for good reason. White wine is a common ingredient for risotto, so it's only natural that it would also work well for making a pot of rice. Cooking rice in white wine elevates the flavor of the rice because of the acidity of the wine, and it's just as easy as using water, especially if you're cooking rice in a rich chicken broth. Adding white wine can add a nice acidity to balance out the flavors of the dish. Vine Pear says cooking rice in chicken broth and white wine is, quote, the secret to mind-blowing rice. And if you're worried about the alcohol content, rest assured most of the alcohol will evaporate during the cooking process, so you probably won't get buzzed from your side dish. One of the more inventive and unexpected ways to elevate rice is to cook it with tea. Cooking rice with tea is an easy way to add a variety of flavors to your rice, and it's good to keep handy in your pantry since tea doesn't really expire. While combining tea and rice isn't exactly new, using tea as the liquid to cook the rice itself is more unusual. It's one hack that is easy to do with minimal effort, and it is also fun to experiment with different types of tea.
What kind of tea do you want? There's more than one kind?
For example, butterfly pea flower is a bright blue flower native to Southeast Asia, and it's been quite the rage as a natural blue food coloring. Butterfly pea flowers are commonly used to make tea and for cooking, and they're believed to have many health benefits. It's also commonly used to make nasi caribou, a Malaysian rice dish that even the Malaysia-based airline AirAsia calls the most beautiful rice dish in Southeast Asia. Butterfly pea tea has a mild flavor, and a little goes a long way in terms of color. So as long as you don't add too much, there's no worry about affecting the flavor of the rice. Dashi is a stock that is the base of a lot of staple Japanese dishes, such as miso soup and sauces made for dipping. Commonly associated with umami flavor, dashi can be made vegan using kombu or kelp and shiitake mushrooms. It can also incorporate bonito fish flakes. Of course, if making dashi sounds intimidating, you can always buy instant dashi powder instead. Cooking rice with dashi is an easy way to add lots of umami flavor. A simple meal to prepare is takikomi gohan, or Japanese mixed rice. Takikomi gohan is basically a one-pot meal where you cook rice with dashi and other ingredients, like mushrooms, vegetables, or meat, all in the same rice cooker or pot. Adding tomato paste to rice adds both a nice red color to the rice and a tangy flavor. The use of tomato in cooking rice is also pretty common around the world, from Latin America to Africa. West African jollof rice recipes, for example, call for either a can of tomatoes or tomato paste. Mexican red rice or Spanish rice is also made using tomatoes, among other flavorful ingredients such as onion and garlic. While you can make tomato sauce using fresh tomatoes, shelf-stable tomato paste is handy to keep in the pantry for whenever you want to add something extra to your rice. Of course, because tomato paste is too thick to cook rice in by itself, it is usually added to other liquids like chicken stock. Beets have a number of health benefits, from lowering blood pressure to fighting inflammation. Plus, beets are also delicious, so cooking rice with beets is one way to not only make your rice healthier and more nutritious, but also more flavorful. Beetroot rice is a popular recipe in India that is healthy and vegan. However, instead of using cut or grated beets, you can achieve a similar dish using beet juice. To make the rice more savory, try combining beet juice with chicken stock and using it to cook rice. Color is the bonus in making rice with beet juice. Thanks to the bright pink color when rice absorbs beet juice, it also takes on the vibrant hue, so you can have rice that is pretty and pink without adding any artificial food coloring. Alternatively, instead of making steamed rice with beet juice, you can use the juice to make beet risotto with cheese.